In a moment, I'm about to talk about the item that might make AD carries broken going forwards in Season 13. But first, there is something we have to kind of seriously address really quick. Because usually, every 2 Wednesdays when a patch drops, we talk about it. But that patch has been delayed because of something kind of really serious happened with Riot. So really quick, in case you don't know, you're not on Twitter, you don't see these things. Today, as in yesterday, the 24th of January, they received a ransom email. Needless to say, they won't pay. This is related to a cyber attack they got done about a couple of days ago that they also announced on Twitter that has actually been disrupting a couple of things. They have a whole thread of tweets. We won't read all of them, but basically there's been a possible exposure to the source code. There's some likelihood that new cheats emerging. If that happens in your games, make sure to report them, use the bug feature, etc. Because this is a serious issue that they're deciding to not negotiate on, though. However, because the source code was legally obtained, it could expose things that they are working on to patch up. So the patch will be delayed a little bit, and hopefully Riot can get that fixed up. One thing that they note is that player data is something they say that was not obtained or targeted in this attack. It was the source code and such. So most likely you will not have to reset your password. Hopefully I have two-step authentication already set up, in which case, there you go. You should be safe. But just to bring this to awareness, in case you don't know and you do watch my videos, I have to put this at the beginning because I feel like this is more important even than the item change. If you play League of Legends still and you're watching this video because you do, this is important. Which leads to my first question of why would you ransom attack a dead and dying game like League of Legends? How are you going to take the time to kick Riot when they're already down? You couldn't have done this during KDA or something, right? When they're on the ups and ups. You got to wait till they're... That's some petty stuff right there. That's the reason why aliens don't visit, because first of all, they're indigo, so they see that black and white still don't get along in some cases, so they'd be like, look, we don't got no chance. But also because of the pettiness. They probably don't got pettiness if they have spaceships that can go to different planets. But second of all, with all the memes and jokes about how this game and the state of the way this game is in, why would you... I feel like at least Riot had the decency to come out and say, hey, we're going to try and do this. We're going to move the LCS time slots. We're going to... You know what I mean? And now you want to do something like this to them? That just, you know, it just kind of sucks. I'm injecting humor into the situation because it sucks, and hopefully a good laugh can kind of help people get on the other side of it. Because to be fair, like they mentioned, like they're committing to, you know, full support everything, see how it happened, and make sure that they can get everything fixed, and hopefully soon they can update us on some good stuff and good news. And you know, we can be mad at balance changes and stuff like that, but stuff like this does not make that acceptable. You know what I mean? It's not acceptable to send someone, you know, death threats, for example, because your favorite champion got nerfed. That's stupid. Don't do that. That's wrong. And the likes. But we are going to get on to the item changes now, but this was important, so I do not regret, quote-unquote, wasting your time with this. Screw you. This is important. Too bad. We are getting, however, into the item change that might make AD carries kind of bonkers, and they were made by Freak, if you remember Freak. But I have to go over here because for some reason his tweets on it seem to not exist, even though they were confirmed to go through. Just to show you, there is a Freak's tweets about like things like Overheal, the shield value, a Bloodthirster. We went over the champion stuff last week for the Let's Talk Jinx video of last week, where we talked about Jinx and other champions getting those mana changes. But one thing I did not cover was Infinity Edge. The required crit chance is going to be going from 60% to 40%. Now, if you don't play AD carry, or you do play AD carry but you never really paid attention, or you're an old school AD carry player that used to remember the Infinity Edge building that first days, Infinity Edge right now as it stands, I feel like they kind of wanted to make it like the death cap of mages for AD carries, where it's the item you're supposed to build last to really like bump up a lot of stats and stuff like that. And it just doesn't really feel like it's ever actually kind of been like that, really ever. But now what they're doing is, because right now as it exists with mythics and stuff, if you don't have 60% crit chance, it does include Infinity Edge's crit chance. You can build this third even after 2 crit items. You get bonus damage from your crit chance if it's above 60%. It doesn't matter, you know, if you're at 55 or below, it won't be there if you try and build Infinity Edge earlier. With this, you can build Infinity Edge second now. Heck, you might be able to even get away with building Infinity Edge first like the old days. You just won't get the bonus until you complete your Zeal item afterwards like the old days. But considering that Infinity Edge has some decent stats in it, especially if you rush boots, the attack speed boots, you might be able to have some decent attack speed and damage, and then you build a second crit item like a Runon's Hurricane or a Phantom Dancer, or maybe just a straight up the mythic item afterwards even, right? And then you have that 40%, and then suddenly you have a bunch of damage, you have the mythic item, and you got some attack speed with the boots, and then you're probably good to go at least a whole item earlier than you were. And so what this means and why this could make AD carries kind of broken is because the way they also retooled mythic items, kind of like every AD carry kind of wanted to build Infinity Edge unless you were doing a lethality build, right? Like they retooled things like Misfortune and Varus where they could do lethality builds, but they could also do crit builds. And a lot of AD carries are in that position, right? Even Zeri with the recent changes, right? They made it so they wanted to be more of like a burst, well, not really burst, but like, you know, crit scaling hyper carry kind of a champion. Sivir's changes, hyper scaling champion, right? Like all these champions were tooled in a ways where they can have their I wouldn't even say off meta builds, but they could build crit as well. And so now every AD carry could benefit from this change. But they're also doing the change to Navari Quick Blades in case you still want to do like a, you know, lethality build too, by the way. Because there's a lot of like overlap with lethality and crit now when you have the one item, the collector and stuff like that. But in conclusion, like this is it. This is about as strong as AD carries are probably going to be, because they're probably going to come out like ridiculously strong and then have to be nerfed over the course of the rest of the season, and then we'll be right back at the start of this in season 14. But for now, this coming patch, which it is delayed, but still, Infinity Edge might be like, not even just crit AD carries, but they're going to feel great. But even other AD carries that build like a mixed build are probably going to feel great, unless their name is Kog'Maw. That's the running joke on this channel. All champions not named Kog'Maw. That's going to be fantastic. And so, like, I mean, I wouldn't say it's an exaggeration to say that AD carry might end up being the most broken role in the game, at least at first, when all this drops. Because between having just the additional mana to be able to use extra abilities, even if you're an auto attacker, which will feel great, and that's what a lot of these are feel good changes, I just think this is insane because, like, I'm going to be honest, I've been experimenting with building Infinity Edge a lot earlier anyways, and it always kind of felt good to have all that extra damage that Infinity Edge has. But of course you don't have the mythic bonus because it's not a mythic item, nor do you have that 60% crit chance. This, however, changes that by a whole item earlier. But again, in case you didn't know, some of these other champion changes, they're mainly like base mana going up, mana scaling going up, and mana regen going up. Jinx right here, of course, since this is a Jinx channel, that's going, and also Zap's mana cost is also being reduced, so that's nice. You know, but a lot of AD carries, just about every AD carry, but also, you know, Bloodthirster's in here too. The lifesteal is going to be going down, but the shield is going to be stronger actually late game, or by level 9, I should even say. So it's going to be, it looks like the shield scale is going from 50, which what you're going to do with a 50 shield anyways, to 320 to 180 to 450. That's, you know, the reduction of some lifesteal with some extra shielding on it. It ain't that bad, especially when the total cost is going down too by 200. So like the way your budget works when you're building your full build now is also going to be cheaper. That's kind of cool. But anyways, that's going to be all for this video. The video's long enough. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification, the actual subscribe button. But I don't know which video will be next because life can have a lot of kinks. So until next time, take care. ggGetJinxed. Thank you for watching and enjoy pizza responsibly.